Today we're going to talk about inflation.
Oh, that sounds boring.
Do you not see increased prices for everything, everywhere, and wonder why?
Now that you mention it, my grocery bill did seem a lot higher than usual.
It seems higher because it is higher due to something we call inflation.
Well then, why do I always hear everyone blaming inflation on greedy corporations or government spending?
Those things definitely have impacts in the short term, but aren't you curious about the long-term underlying cause?
Oh, fine, I'll bite.
Don't bite, drink! Let's have some wine.
Ah! Maybe money can be fun.
Glass number 1 is pure, undiluted wine.
Huzzah!
Glass number 2, on the other hand, is the same size glass, but instead of being pure wine, I diluted it with water.
Ugh, you're sick, you know that?
Bear with me. So the second glass is only 1/3 wine and 2/3 water. Now, let's catch a buzz by drinking wine.
Listen, mister, I'm trying to get drunk, and it'll take exactly 7 glasses to do so.
Oddly specific, but helpful nonetheless. So, 7 glasses of pure wine to get drunk. Now, how many glasses of the diluted wine would it take to have the same effect?
Well, I'm not really one for the maths, but if glass number 2 is only 1/3 wine, I'll have to drink 3 glasses just to equal the 1 glass of wine, which means I'll need 21 glasses of this piss wine just to get drunk!
With diluted power? Sadly, yes.
But that's not sustainable! I have limited capacity, especially in this corset!
Now you see the problem with inflation. Central banks dilute the purchasing power of the money that you already have by creating new money from nothing!
So basically, when there's new money being created or printed, as they say, they're increasing the money supply, which decreases the purchasing power of the dollars I have, which is why I had to use more dollars to buy the exact same groceries. It all makes sense.
All the while they try to gaslight you into thinking you can still get drunk from watered down wine.
Well, that's just horrible. They must be stopped from diluting the wine and money.
Sadly, there is no stopping them, but you do have a way to opt out and protect the value of your time and energy.
Well, don't keep me in suspense.
It's called Bitcoin. There will only ever be 21 million Bitcoins, and unlike the dollar or other fiat currencies, no centralized authority can print any more willy-nilly on a whim.
I've heard about this Bitcoin, and I'm intrigued, but I think I need a bit more context.
And what if I told you you could only drink wine on certain days of the week? Monetary censorship, coming next episode. Today we're going to talk about censorship.
Huzzah!
No, not that kind. I'm talking about financial censorship.
You are no fun.
Neither is financial censorship. Think about it like this. When financial institutions and payment intermediaries shut down accounts or inhibit transactions, you no longer have the ability to exercise your freedoms elsewhere in life.
Can you explain that like you don't have a PhD stuck up your ass?
Okay. Have you ever had your credit card blocked because of suspected fraud?
Yes, it's so annoying. I mean, why is buying 1,000 pounds of grass-fed beef considered a suspicious activity?
Exactly. Banks, credit card companies, any trusted third party that handles your money can freeze your access to the financial system on a whim.
But that's only ever used to keep me safe from fraud, right?
Wrong. Because most of our transactions are already done digitally and facilitated by middlemen, a central party can cut off your access to the entire financial system just because they don't like what you say, who you donate to, who you vote for, where you travel, or what you eat.
I'm a law-abiding citizen. I have rights. They can't just cut me off. I'll move to another country.
With what money?
Well, then I'll go to the capital and protest.
With what money?
Well, then I'll tweet about the injustice of it all then. Oh, no, I won't. They've already shut off my data plan, it seems. Are they listening?
Now you see the problem. Any virtualized financial system that relies on trusted third parties is always subject to financial censorship.
Well, that's f***ing bleak.
And that's where Bitcoin comes in.
But I thought Bitcoin was just about preventing central bankers and governments from inflating the money supply.
Correct. And because Bitcoin is decentralized, permissionless, and peer-to-peer, no trusted third party is involved when you transact. You're free to spend your money how you see fit.
So basically, the problem with the current system is all the trust that's required to make it work, because I have to trust the banks, the credit card companies, the government. Oh!
And sadly, history is full of breaches of that trust.
But with Bitcoin, there's no middleman who can stop me from using Bitcoin or take my Bitcoins away.
You've got it. Now you never have to worry about being blocked from buying beef ever again.
I still don't see the problem with me buying beef, though. I mean, what do they want me to eat instead? Bugs?
Actually, yes. Coming next episode, you'll eat bugs and you'll pay for them with a central bank digital currency. Today we're going to talk about proof of work.
No, but work is hard.
And that's the point. Do you know why this show is called Funny Money?
Honestly, I've never thought about it.
It's called funny money because that's what fiat currency is. Currency that is forged or otherwise worthless.
Are you saying the US dollar is worthless? That's treason or something.
Not at all, but on its own it is worthless. It only has value because the government says so and backs it with military might.
All right, so what is Bitcoin backed by then?
Think of it less as backed by and more of created with.
Well, that's awfully cryptic.
To create new bitcoins requires computation. Computation requires work. And in our universe, work requires time and energy.
Well, it sounds awfully hard to make new Bitcoins then.
That's why Bitcoin is hard money.
So why is this consuming time and energy thing important then? I mean, aren't there ways to make it easier or less energy consuming? I mean, I keep hearing about this proof of stake.
Not without compromising Bitcoin's most important qualities as money. Think about it like this. To use money in the digital realm, we have to rely on ledgers. To make ledgers reliable, unambiguous order is required. To establish order, timestamps are necessary. Thus, if we want to have trustless money in the digital realm, we must remove any entity that creates and manages timestamps and any single entity that is in charge of time itself.
Right. So basically, the time and energy, or proof of work that Bitcoin uses, essentially ties the digital world to the physical world.
You got it.
But in proof of stake, there is no tie to the physical world or to independent time, which makes proof of stake systems subject to centralized control. Unlike Bitcoin, where no one can manipulate the digital ledger.
Or create more money out of thin air during the next crisis.
That's why governments don't like it. But hang on. What if someone uses all the energy in the world to mine as many bitcoins as fast as they want?
That's where the difficulty adjustment comes in. Linking money to energy alone isn't sufficient to produce absolute scarcity. Time is the only thing we can ever make more of.
So you're telling me Bitcoin automatically makes it harder to create new ones when there's more resources competing?
You've got it. And it also makes it easier in the reverse case.
Well, that's fucking brilliant. I mean, I never thought I'd say it, but this work seems like a good thing.
It truly is. Bitcoin's proof of work, combined with the difficulty adjustment, enforces an internal clock that allows us to independently agree on the history of events without central coordination.
So it sounds like without proof of work, we would just be replicating the existing centrally controlled system. And we all know that's fucked.
Fucked indeed. Today we're going to talk about the Federal Reserve.
Is that another one of those government institutions?
Well, that's a complicated question. For now, let's just say they're both public and private.
Public, private, why should I care?
Because what the Fed does has a direct impact on your life.
Well, I'm flattered, but what do they do exactly?
The Fed has a dual mandate: price stability and maximum employment.
They seem to be failing on the price part, judging by my grocery bill, but they're doing stellar on jobs. I just got my third.
Don't get too excited. The reason you need 3 jobs to make ends meet is because wages haven't kept up with inflation.
What's the Fed got to do with that?
The Fed decides how much money to create and the cost to borrow it. Then every month the whole world gathers round to see what decision they've made.
Like cardinals deciding the new pope.
Yes, but with a lot more insider trading.
Like Martha Stewart?
Yes, but instead of jail, they go back to work at investment funds.
Poor Martha.
Poor everyone. During times of crisis, the Fed floods the system with money by digitally printing it while keeping the cost of borrowing that money very low or zero.
Free money, huzzah!
Not free for you, darling. Lately, however, they're trying to decrease the inflation they created by increasing the cost to borrow money.
So these people caused the problem, and we're supposed to just trust that they'll fix it? That's rubbish!
Now you see the problem with the current system. The world is forced to wait with bated breath while these unelected banker bureaucrats deliver their reactionary monetary policy decisions, perpetuating an ever more violent cycle of booms and busts.
I know all about busts. Well, sorry for trying to brighten the mood. It just seems like there's no escape from this racket.
That's where Bitcoin comes in.
I knew it, because Bitcoin has a fixed monetary policy and is ruled by math, unlike fiat, which is ruled by, well, dishonest people.
Exactly. The root problem with conventional currency is all the trust that's required to make it work. The central bank must be trusted not to debase the currency, but the history of fiat currencies is full of breaches of that trust.
Conversely, Bitcoin is predictable, so I don't have to waste my time waiting for the Powell announcement.
Precisely. Individuals, businesses, entire countries lose precious time and energy in this centralized, trust-based system.
Well, surely people are waking up to all this, right? Right?
Coming next episode, wake up and smell the deglobalization. Today we're going to talk about fractional reserve banking.
Ooh, I love fractions.
Not this kind. Fractional reserve banking means banks only keep a fraction of their deposits as reserves and lend out the rest. This creates more money in circulation than there would be otherwise.
Can you give me an example where, say, you're the bank and I'm, well, me, and I deposit, say, $100?
All right then. Let's say as a bank I take that $100 and keep a fraction reserve, perhaps 10% or $10.
So I give you my $100 and you only keep 10?
Correct. Then I lend out the remaining $90 to Jerome, who goes and buys something from Janet, who then takes those $90 and deposits them into her bank.
Oh, don't tell me Janet's bank only keeps a fraction in reserve too.
Prepare to be disappointed. Janet's bank keeps $0 in reserves, lends out the entire $90, and this cycle goes on and on forever, compounding the creation of money out of thin air.
Zero? But that's ludicrous. How is a bank that's supposed to hold money only required to hold 0%?
Because in 2020, the United States Central Bank, the Federal Reserve, set the reserve requirement at 0%.
So they take my money and lend practically all of it out?
No need to be angry, they pay you 0.01% interest that you are also taxed on.
But that's not even enough to cover my overdraft fees. This is so
Fucked indeed. And that's where Bitcoin comes in.
How does Bitcoin help with this?
With Bitcoin, as long as it's not on an exchange and is in your self-custody, your money is actually yours. It's like gold in a vault, except digital and actually easy to transact with, or cash under your mattress, except it's scarce and the government can't just decide to print more.
You know, I just wish I would have understood all of this sooner, because I was listening to this Jim Cramer figure, and I don't understand how one person can be so wrong all the time!
It's almost as if the talking heads are mere pawns put forward by the regime to lull you into a false sense of security while the world around you burns.
I'm sorry, I just don't have it in me to talk about climate change today. But hang on, if the banks don't have our money, what happens if all of us decide to withdraw our money at the same time?
Bank runs, coming next episode.